Debates are the lowest form of communication. Nothing gets done. All there is are people who are watching with their own opinions, who then will just say whatever they feel based entirely on their emotions without listening to anything that's actually being said. So there's just two groups of people fighting very loudly while the inability to actually think takes place. You cannot think by going fast. You cannot think under pressure. You cannot think while being forced. Thinking is something that really needs to be done by slowing down. In fact, what one could do to make a really good video, which would be debate-like, but not a debate because debates are stupid, would be to think and edit and then put together a video and then make commentary that actually makes sense without just rambling the first things that pop into your head. Speaking of, here's Yaron Brook struggling to fully explain what he means because he's in a debate and the other person just wants to throw out their talking points. And you can't really have a real conversation with a person who only is just there to give out talking points. Let's keep that in mind also.
Okay.
How's anything bad? We can't. I mean, like, so right now, I was just hearing the story that in the 70s, Denmark legalized child pornography. And you know what the response to the rest of the world was? Nothing. All right? So that's the real world. Like, there's just no guarantees. Sorry.
So I think there should be guarantees, and I think that's what we should be advocating.
What do you mean should be guarantees?
By should be guarantees, what he's trying to say is we set up a system where as a society, we get together and we decide that certain things are bad. And when bad people do those bad things, we punish them for it. We come together as a community and we punish them for doing crimes. There's nobody here is going to be saying that we need to use the laws of physics to outlaw crime. No. We just want to establish that individual rights are the top bee's knees, that the mind is the greatest thing and we need to protect the mind from force. So we need to implement some sort of objective standards that take into account what humans are and then applies that to society so that people don't get hurt. And when, not if, when they do get hurt, we can punish people for it without having to try to argue amongst different gangs of whether or not we can take someone else from a different area because they're not a part of a certain insurance company. No, we don't care about that. You committed a crime in our society, and the guarantee is, if you commit crimes, we're going to look for you. It's really not that complicated.
Like, it's not a should be. There just isn't. I think there should be, it should be a law of physics that nobody's ever hungry.
Okay, so this is the end of a 2-hour stream, so you must be very, very, very drunk at this point. So maybe that explains it. But what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Who is going to invoke the law of physics? What does that even mean? We're going to invent laws of physics to do... Who's talking about physics? Where's the physics coming from? What? Do you... Wait. Do you think laws, like political laws, are physical laws of the universe? Is that why you think government doesn't make sense? Because you think that they're trying to write physical laws into the bills? Is that what's happening?
But it's not subject to normativity. Like, what are you talking about here? There just are no guarantees. Kaplan's making just a claim, a metaphysical claim here, and you're bringing it way up into ethics.
We're talking about politics, my dude. We're talking about ethics. What do you mean? We're talking about the application of ethics to a society, not metaphysics. What are you talking about? Why are you doing physics right now? This is about anarcho-capitalism. This is about capitalism. This is about socialism, about social orders of ethics. What are you talking about? Why do you need this to be physical? Do you think everything is literally just physical laws? What is this? What do you mean? What are you talking about? How drunk are you?
Well, I think that people should always be happy. Well, that's not the case.
There's no way that you're this stupid. Honestly. There's no way. This has got to be a grift. There's no way you're this stupid.
By who? World government? Who
No,
guarantees anything?
in a particular geographic area, there should be guarantees. Or at least that's what we
Should be guaranteed. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. There just aren't guarantees.
should be striving for. That is to set up an ideal that internally says there are going to be no guarantees. Yeah, if some people want to molest children,
That's not an ideal. That's the ideal is that the crime doesn't happen. That's the anarcho-capitalist case. We actually have a...
Since you're going to interrupt him before he can finish his sentence and actually make a point, I'm going to interrupt you and just tell you that you're an idiot, actually. Because he's trying to say we make laws to protect people from criminals, not we make laws to outlaw in physics, not outlaw society, to physically poof out of existence criminals. No one said that. What is going on in your brain that you think that objectivist capitalists are trying to write laws to prevent children from getting molested by using the laws of physics to pop molesters out of existence? What are you talking about? We just want to send them to jail. We know you don't, but that's a totally different story, right?
A way better argument for why these things are crimes and why they shouldn't happen, by the way. Yeah, that is the ideal, that it doesn't happen. But there is no guarantee that you get the ideal.
Yes, obviously you can't get an ideal society. That's a utopia, and utopias don't exist. The objectivist version of capitalism is the closest thing one could get to an ideal because it takes into account human mentalities. It takes into account that some people will commit crimes, and therefore we will need to punish them. That's the ideal. The ideal is not to say, oh, let's have a non-aggression principle, and then all of the criminals, they will just stop being criminals because non-aggression is the new law of physics. Oh, wait. Oh my God, that's actually what you think. You actually think that laws are physical laws, and that if one were to write a natural law that was actually natural, like that what you think is natural, like the NAP, that suddenly naturally people would stop being criminals because it's a physical law. That's actually what you think, isn't it? That's actually wild.
That's the point. It is the ideal, but there's no guarantee that you achieve the ideal. This is what Kaplan's saying. Like, this might be like an impressive little rhetorical flourish for the objectivist audience. Like, well, I think there should be guarantees. You know, it's like a politician. Well, I think 9/11 was bad, and I think the terrorists should stop.
Do you not? Do you think 9/11 was good and terrorists should continue? I don't think you think that. So I think that you think that there probably should be some sort of guarantee that if someone were to commit terrorist attacks, that we would have a means of attacking back and like defending ourselves. I'm pretty sure you think that. I'm pretty sure you think that there should be a form of guarantee that if someone commits a crime against you, that you can act against them back, right? Like, even your non-aggression principle doesn't say that you can't retaliate. It says you can't initiate. So, like, even the NAP has, like, as a guarantee that, like, you defend yourself. Do you not understand that?
Like, okay, great.
children and they get a security agency to protect them, so be it. Then we're negating this fundamental principle of individual rights. This is why it's a complete disaster. This is why it's bad for humanity. That is, in a particular geographic area, we should be striving towards a system that does guarantee that children are not molested. Now,
No, you can't strive towards a system that guarantees it.
Let him finish his sentence, dude. If you let him finish his sentence, a point will be made. There's a reason people don't want to debate you. Do you not understand this? You just interrupt people, and then you say the most asinine thing that you can possibly not even imagine, because there's no way you could imagine the things you think. You clearly just get in a state of drunken inebriation and just spout whatever anti-comment is being said at the moment. Whoever is talking, you disagree with them. Every single time. That's it. And then you interrupt, and you don't even make any points that are being addressed. He's saying we make laws to protect people from criminals after the crime is committed, because you can't stop them before the crime is committed. And the guarantee of a good society is that we know human beings will commit crimes and that we then send them to jail after that. What is your argument? What are you trying to say? You're just saying random things, interrupting, not actually letting anything into your mind.
He's flipping things around.
Some children be molested? Yes. Will they be prosecuted? Yes.
See, if you stop talking over him while he speaks, you would probably hear him say, the guarantee isn't that we stop the acts from happening, because you can't. The guarantee is that we go after the criminals after the fact. That we go and attack those people for attacking other people. I don't know how this is difficult to you. The only way I can make sense of this is that Zulu doesn't like when molesters go to jail. I don't know what the point is here.
Right? So
Like you can strive towards a system where you can strive towards the world where there aren't any crimes or anything like that. You can strive towards that, sure.
What are you saying? You can strive towards a society without any crime. So Yaren's point that you can't remove criminals from society, so we aim for a society where we punish criminals, that's crazy. That's crazy. But we could aim for a society that doesn't have crime at all, and that seems at all reasonable to you. Whether you say yes or no at the next part, you've put up into the ether this idea. Theoretically, on paper, this would work out fine. What? What do you mean? How is theoretically on paper we just get rid of criminals? Oh, the natural laws, right? Yeah. Of course, obviously, right?
You can't strive towards a world where it's metaphysically impossible for there to be crime. Doesn't exist. That's not possible. It's a naive floating abstraction. Whoops.
Please point to the part of the debate where Yaren said we're going to try and make it a guarantee that we metaphysically remove criminals and crime from the universe. Where was that ever said? Where is this floating abstraction that the objectivist policies for politics is that we metaphysically outlaw crime? What are you smoking, my dude? Seriously. This is not alcohol anymore. This is straight crack or something. What the heck are you talking about, my dude? What are you talking about, metaphysically removing criminals? What are you talking about? That's insanity, my dude.
So that is the kind of system we want to achieve. We want to strive towards. To set up a system which we know, if enough people pay enough money, they will be protected. That is a negation of the whole idea of human flourishing and individual success and liberty.
Yeah,
Again, debates are trash, and I really actually don't know what Yaren is trying to say in that last negation part. He kind of flips his... He clearly doesn't mean that the system he sets up negates human flourishing. He's trying to say that, obviously, human flourishing comes from the fact that people are, when they're protected and can go about their days thinking freely without having to worry about being attacked, that they can flourish, and that they don't have to worry about paying for a security force that may or may not defend their rights depending on how much other people and other market values go up and down and so on and so forth. That just, if you create a system where the police are paid somehow by someone, and that isn't being used to defend just those people, but to defend everyone, then everyone is freer. If there's a police force that protects people, then you are free. If there is no police force that protects you, you are not free, because anyone can attack you without consequence. The guarantee of an objective moral society is that criminals do exist. You cannot metaphysically write them out of existence. Therefore, we create laws that say, if you violate human rights, we send you to jail. It's pretty clear.
You think you went to Costco and you said, is this product guaranteed? And they said, well, we're striving to guarantee it. That's the same as not guaranteeing. Right? So yes, I'm all in favor of making the world better and doing a good job, but to me, that's just empty promises, and you've got to do better than that if you promise to guarantee what you can't.
But capitalism is...
So apparently, the way that you argue as an anarcho-capitalist is you just stop listening to all of the words that are being said, and then create little Lifeboat or Costco hypotheticals that actually have no relation whatsoever to the actual conversation. And then you make a little snide and then you're basically good, right? That will get all of these people on the side here that are obsessed with me, even though I wasn't even in this comment section yet, who love talking about me. That's how you get people like this all riled up. Woo! Woo! Yeah, you hear how he went, woo!
This really is just like in the movie Fargo, when there is the guy who's responsible for having his wife kidnapped, sorry to give the movie away, and then his father-in-law says, what guarantee do I have of this money? And he says, well, the guarantee is I guarantee you'll get it back. It's not a guarantee. So look, this is just the real world. I'm not going and expressing a blasé or indifferent attitude to human suffering. I am saying don't make promises that you can't actually back up because you can't.
But that's the whole principle of individual rights. The whole principle of individual rights, the whole idea of a government that protects individual rights is to provide that guarantee.
No.
Yeah.
The principle of individual rights isn't, we're going to make it a law of logic that aggression is now impossible.
No, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, because no one said that. No one said that. So yeah, you're right. You're right in the same way that, like, if Yarn said, we need to make robbery a crime, and if you rob someone, we're going to send you to jail. And you're like, the color red is red. Yeah, we know. What the hell are you talking about? No one's trying to make some laws of logic. This is politics, my dude. We're making laws that we follow in books enforced by police and judges. We are not making physical laws, my guy. We're not creating new laws of logic when we say don't hurt people. We're not trying to make a new law of logic that says that all harm should be ended. No one said that. So yeah, you're correct. You're correct that's not it. But you're not saying anything. What are you saying?
Or else there would be no use of this concept of rights. If it was truly guaranteed that nobody ever violates her rights, the concept of rights just wouldn't come up.
Yeah, okay. If no one ever violated other people's rights, we wouldn't know that rights exist. Correct. If no one ever stole your property from you, you wouldn't ever stop to think, hey, that's my property. You can't take that, because no one has ever taken anything from you. If no one has ever forced you to do something against your will and forced you to do something that you really don't want to do, something that's quite, in a sense, criminal to your body, that if no one's ever done that to you, why would you ever think people shouldn't be allowed to do that? Of course, yes, obviously. If no one had ever committed any crimes ever, we wouldn't know that such a thing as violating rights exists, because if crime never existed, we wouldn't know about crime. Correct, yes, very smart, very tautologically true, very good. But we are human beings who have been on this planet in the form of the humans that we are for at least 20,000 years. We've had the same brain capacity for about 20,000 years now. And, as such, we have had all of the same crimes since then. Society over time has changed, where the hunter-gatherers set up little tribes where they protected each other and set up certain rules, like, as tribes are usually families, like rules like don't kill your brothers, sisters, cousins, moms, dads, aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas. You know what? Don't hurt other people. In fact, actually, don't take things from other people. And then other tribes moved in. And then there was this warring between tribes. And then people were getting hurt. And then there was this kind of like, what if we, as two different tribes, start working together? And society started building on this idea. And we went through all of these processes till one day someone, a bunch of people actually, decided, you know what? I don't like this. And they wrote the Declaration of Independence. And in doing so, they established a sort of freedom of living. They established these rights that we've known about for a long time because people violate them. But we really encoded them into a law that says, you know what, you can't hurt people. That's against the rules. And you know what? One of the biggest perpetrators is the government. So we, the people. So yeah, if we never committed any crimes ever, then we wouldn't know about rights. But we did commit crimes. And now we're trying to outlaw them. So what is your point? What is the argument here?
Right, the concept of rights only comes up because people can violate. There is the potential that somebody violates rights, that your rights aren't guaranteed.
I bet you have no clue that you just said the complete opposite 10 seconds ago. How do the people watching you seriously think that they're getting anything intellectual from you? You literally just flip-flop back and forth while just being contrary. That's your only thing. You're just contradictory. You're like an old boomer. Anyone says one thing, you just have to say the opposite. You just always have to be right, no matter how stupid it makes you sound.
Whether it's implemented and applied 100%, but that is the kind of system that you want to build, the kind of system that is defined in a sense of we are going to protect people's liberty. We are going to protect people's individual rights. And if you set it up without that protection, then you're setting it up for a failure if the standard is individual flourishing.
No comments, apparently, from this one. A little bit too invested in the drink, methinks. Yeah, I think this question does have some bad premises. Like, it's not about allowed or not allowed. No government's allowed to be a government in the first place. But it would be better if you had secession, peaceful secession, like if the South could have peacefully seceded from the Union, and if Texas can peacefully secede from the U.S., that would be a lot better than obviously this.
Should flood
I will say, just to address Existence University, I will be responding to 0 of the arguments you make, none of them, until you agree to debate me. That's your choice.
I choose to never debate anyone because it is the lowest form of intellectual communication. The only people I have ever seen asking to debate me are people who desperately need other people in order to make content. Some people, like myself, do not need other people to make content. We can sit down and write a textbook and then teach the textbook. Some of us do not need to just sit by being contrarians to anything that they see on the internet. Some of us don't need to go about interviewing people that they think that are higher status in the, well, let's not call them cults. What would you like to call them? Societies, institutes, centers? I don't need to debate you. In fact, I can make videos like this, where I talk about how wrong you are. And the fact is, since you won't debate me and you won't address any of the points, everyone gets to watch how you are wrong and how you will never address any of these points. Because you need a debate, because you need attention, because you need something that will generate more money for your alcoholism. That's the real issue here, isn't it? The real issue is you don't want a real job, and that's fine. I don't want a real job either. But what I do is I will sit down and I will start writing things that educate people without needing commentary, without needing debate, without needing a second brain, without needing second-handedness. Go ahead. Ignore me. That's fine. It just shows that you're a coward. It shows that you can't actually think, that you can't sit down and write something intellectual. You can't actually defend any of your points. You can't actually make a video that actually debunks me. No, you can only be loud and drunk and have your little sycophants clap along in the chat. That's all you got. At the end of the day, all you have are like 12 schizophrenics that follow you around, and they don't even like you. They just think that it's funny the way that you talk. They They're just a bunch of other edgelords that are going to grow up at some point. And you're going to be left in your mother's basement just complaining about things that people are not saying. Go ahead. Don't respond to me. I'm okay with that. You're not getting a debate out of me.